Starkey, went over the details with him. I've got, New England Glass and Mirror coming next week to go over some of the issues. Whether there is a couple stumbling blocks that we could possibly get through before we get pricing on it. I also put a call out to Ruby Glass so we can get a secondary price once, this New
Now, if you say it is coming over, there's nothing coming over that owl, right? You're not getting any feedback now?
No,
No,
Okay. Then I think you're good. Go ahead.
okay. Item 6E, discussion and possible action on status of Main Street.
Oh, there it
Now we
goes.
get-
Hang on. I take that. All right, try it again, take that word.
Okay, discussion and possible action on status of Main Street decorative lighting.
I know the last meeting, we indicated that we're thinking about taking them down and running streetlights, but I'd like us to consider, I did get online for LSI lighting fixtures, and I think there may be some alternative replacements. I'm sure it's gonna be a difficult thing to have everybody agree on what to replace it. But I think, I'm gonna reach out to the installing contractor, that installed them, okay, and I think, you already have them built into the cement, you already have the pedestal, you already have the power to them. So maybe we can find a cost-effective alternative, that's not gonna cost us 8 to 10 grand. That way maybe get something that's replaceable and that's not something that's replaced, not. I mean, those are beautiful lights, but if we can't replace them, we can't replace them. But if you go to a standard LSI style fixture, they have very nice stuff out there and, and it, with LED lighting and stuff like that, it'd probably be more cost effective to run. I don't know who pays the power bill or whatever, but just a thought rather than just taking them down and using streetlights. That's just my thought, and I just thought of it actually middle of this week, so sorry about that. I didn't
It's
let you
okay.
guys know.
I kind of agree, and I think it'd be worthwhile to investigate at least, see what we can do to salvage those lamps somehow. I'd hate to take them all down. I know that there's a maintenance issue and, but I think further investigation, like you said, Martin, I think that's worthwhile. I would like to, pursue that some more and maybe,
Okay. I can hopefully have some pictures and costs at the next meeting because it's only a catalog thing and, I think the biggest decision we're gonna have to, quite frankly, because nobody can agree on anything is what style they're gonna be and how they look.
Right,
And
right.
other than that, I think we can get the price in line. I think we can do everything. It's just a matter of who makes the decision and what they do. That's my guess.
I guess I'm gonna be the fly in the ointment. They are beautiful. I love them and I hate to see them come down, but they were not placed properly, and that is the reason that we've had 20 poles taken down so far, hit and taken down. So going forward, how do we avoid that? Because we, so yes, pursue,
Well, we could always put some
Your-
type of bumper, like not, like a lolly column style bumper in front of them. You can core bore through the sidewalk. I know some of the sidewalks need some work anyway, so maybe that you could tie that into some beautification thing or something like that. I don't really know. I'm not that far into it yet, but I think we can do some type of protection and maintain some visual aesthetics in town. I
and
think just to put light
maybe
poles.
also if we do come up with some kind of alternative plan, maybe the borough can share in the cost.
Oh, I wouldn't think any other way.
okay,
I'll make a motion that we, table, 6E.
Yep.
Until we can gather some more information about cost and, options.
Okay, I will talk to Frank in the next day or two and I'll get some others.
and I will second that motion. We have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, F, discussion and possible action on status of an affordable housing plan. I had a chance to meet with, the planning and zoning group last night. I was notified that back in 2021, 2022, the, all municipalities in the state are required to present to the Office of Policy Management, an affordable housing plan, and that was never done. So I had a chance to speak with the, local council of governments. She sent information to me, And when I met with planning and zoning last night, and Martin, you chaired that meeting, and I think that, the group,
The compromise we came up with, it was $10,000 to do the council of governments, thing, and at this particular juncture, we felt, that we could do it as a board. So we're gonna do a couple special meetings. We're gonna do a staff review with Mario after we get it semi-done, and part of the helping from the Board of Selectmen is Tina's gonna go out, reach out to a couple other municipalities so we can cut and paste, other stuff people have done and, submit it. I'm very, very fortunate that we have a very good board, in zoning, that they're all very smart and very capable, and I'm pretty comfortable we can get it done. I'm not saying it's not gonna cost anything, because I just think the council of governments gonna charge something for a cursory review.
Yeah.
But it's certainly not gonna be, I don't have that number, but it's certainly not gonna be the $10,000
no,
that they indicated to us. So I would guess, how volunteer organizations work, I would say within a couple months. I'd tell you a month, but it's not gonna happen in a month. A couple
Right,
months,
right.
it'll be done, and we'll be in compliance with what we're supposed to be in, which we didn't know we were supposed to be in compliance with,
no, and as I pointed out last night, the sad part about it is that back when the legislature had said that this needed to be done, there was some state funding that was available so that the Council of Governments could produce a housing plan for municipalities, and it was paid for by the grant. We've lost out on that. The money is no longer available. So going forward, we'll have to see what the cost will be. So, but it has to be done. So thank you for helping with that. Okay,
So we need a motion to table that. Till such time as we're ready to address
I would.
okay, I'll make the motion that, item 6F be tabled to such time as that we have a final document to review.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Discussion and possible action on status of a commission on aging. I had a chance to talk with the senior center director. I reached out to the aging department in Hartford. It is not a mandate that the town have a commission on aging. It's simply a commission that can provide oversight to the happenings and the goings on of the senior center. Senior center director does not feel the need for this commission. The senior center has been operating for quite a few years without a commission on aging. It was defunct back, probably I'd say 15 years ago. So I think I'd like to table this and just get,
I'd almost like to remove, because if you do read it, and I have read it multiple times, there's a lot of redundancy that this commission does, that the senior citizen does.
Board of directors do the same thing.
All the
Yeah.
same thing.
and they do have a board of
Right.
directors.
There's a lot of
oversight.
parallels, and, I just look at it as that we don't need it. We don't need it, and I think I would motion that we remove commission and aging until such time that the state of Connecticut requires another unfunded mandate.
They do require a municipal agent. That we do have. That is a mandate. So Martin has a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on removing the ordinance for the Commission on Aging. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. H, discussion and possible action on status of a building committee. I'll let the two of you. Your thoughts, please.
Well, we haven't talked about it yet.
No, well, after reading it, what are your thoughts?
Well, obviously, the previous board and this board here both were not aware of the existence of an ordinance requiring a building committee. I can understand the need for it. I agree with the ordinance as it's presented, but I think the horse is out of the barn as far as current status on the 164 project, but it's something we and future boards will have to adhere to.
All right, so I guess I have a couple of questions. Now, would this building committee also go into the Board of Ed stuff, or is this just a building committee for the municipal work? Because the first thing I would say is that $500,000 number is too high. Well, actually, I did read this quite a bit, so,
I know you did.
Too high or too low?
too high. Because it's $500,000 they want to start the commission on, so for me, it should be less. That's a big capital expenditure, and I think that should be like a couple $100,000, I mean, it shouldn't be, that's, and to have a clerk of the works and have them have a clerk of the works, if we're doing a job to that magnitude, we've already paying for a Fuss and O'Neill or somebody to be a clerk of the works, so it's a redundancy, and if you look at section C, where it says this committee shall employ clerk of the works to qualify to supervise and construct facilities and facilitation in the project town of Grizzle. Now, if we're doing a project of that magnitude, we're gonna have a Fuss and O'Neill or somebody being our clerk of the works,
Engineers.
so engineer and doing that, so I think there's some redundancy in this, I think it's a good idea, but I think it certainly needs some fine, at least in my opinion, needs some fine.
Maybe we can,
So,
send it back to the ordinance committee for a review.
yeah, with your recommendations, with your thoughts?
I only got
All of
one,
us?
I got more than that, but I'll just keep it at this.
Well, if you can get it to us,
I will,
you know,
if I get time.
get it into the office with your changes or with your suggestions.
I just think there's a
And
lot of
Rich, same
redundancy.
thing with you. And then we can submit it, we can send it back to the ordinance committee for review. Okay? So I'm gonna make a motion that, Martin and Rich submit your thoughts and suggestions on this, proposed ordinance, and we will send it back to the ordinance committee for their input and changes.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I, discussion and possible action on parcel reconfiguration as requested by Greg Mackin. And Mr. Mackin is here tonight. So we'll let you tell us what's going on.
To give you a map here to look at. What I'm doing is I approached the state last year to get a piece of land from the state of Connecticut that's contiguous to the property that we have. And what their procedure is that we had to send them all kind of information, all the engineering, all that stuff like that. So they finally approved it. Next step now is that they're gonna send a letter to the town of Griswold asking if the town wants to buy that parcel, and they have first dibbies. Okay, this is the parcel over here. It's 6,300 square feet, so it's a very small piece of property. Right there. Why do we need that is because we're doing this to make, taking three parcels. All right.
Okay,
We're taking two parcels and making it three because the tenants that are interested in coming in up there are not willing to pay the price on the land. The land cost is too high. So we had to break it apart and condense it. And we need that piece to make everything work for planning and zoning and wetlands and all that stuff. So what we're doing is informing the town what's, that a letter's coming from the state, and this is why you'd be getting a letter from the state of Connecticut.
okay.
Okay,
All right, so this map you just gave us, where are you adding? Where does it add?
it adds at this end right here.
But it's not delineated on this map you gave us.
No, that is only on this map here. Okay.
Yeah, this one is probably, because this will tell you, it shows your medical office, restaurant, lumber warehouse. Here,
Okay.
you want.
Just to give you, like I said, if you look at Preston Road, this is the service road here,
Mhm.
okay, Petromax. And then as you come down the service road, there's a row of trees this way going down. And that's the little square piece that we need, that little triangle piece.
Mhm.
So we're basically right over here, Mark. Right over here.
So it's the medical office who's
Right,
interested in that.
well, actually, all the tenants want to have more visibility from 395.
395,
Yeah,
all right.
and
Now, would you be willing to put a welcome to Grizzle sign in there somewhere?
yep,
Okay. With no cost to us, right?
right?
Okay,
Be about that big.
yeah, no, it's gonna be bigger than that.
Yeah, no, there's gonna be signs in there, so basically, welcome to Griswold is gonna be out in the front out here instead of over here. So when we get off the exit, that's the first thing here, basically.
Okay.
It's gonna, say the name of the project, Green at Midbury, and then welcome to Griswold, whatever else they want to put on that. This is just, this sign over here is for the three buildings itself.
Okay, so you know what sign we're talking about, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So, and you agree in principle that you're gonna put it up there?
Yep.
Okay,
You guys have to design it, and
okay.
you have to get the sign, and we'll put it up.
So the state will be sending us a letter?
Yes, I spoke with them. Matter of fact, I gave you a copy
here.
of that letter,
Yep,
right?
right here.
There's
Yeah.
convenience in it. Is that Petromax?
Yep, that's Petromax, yeah.
Get that back to you.
Yeah.
You want all of these back?
Oh, no, if you guys need one, you can take one.
Yep, can I keep one with the?
Yep.
Clarification on which building?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. If you got any other questions? I'd be glad to answer.
I guess the first question I would have is, Todd, do we need this piece of property, or should this property be, relinquished to, Mr. Mack?
I don't think. My end is.
Oh, what?
No.
Okay, so what I'm gonna say, or at least what I'm gonna suggest, is that I'm gonna make a motion that in waiting for the letter from the state of Connecticut offering this particular piece of land, that we respond to the state of Connecticut that the town of Griswold is not interested in purchasing that piece of property. Cause it is what, $20,000?
Yeah.
Is the cost? Yeah. We do not see a need for it, and that when the letter requesting the information comes from the state of Connecticut, we respond that the town of Griswold does not have an interest in purchasing this.
With the stipulation, you're putting a sign up.
The state doesn't need to know that.
That's another permit.
Well, that's not, you said you're gonna do
There's
it.
one other thing I'd like to add to that. When, I don't know, I had talked to Todd about that. When I did a project in Norwich and we got some land from the state actually, gave the land to the town gave it to the Economic Development Commission. Then they gave it to us. So there was no cost involved. So I don't know if that's changed or not. That's what I gotta find out. It has, okay.
Okay, and you're certain of that?
Yeah, because they have two standards for any project. State, town, or private land, they use a assessment formula. for the company value.
And it's too small, I think.
And they don't offer, used to be $500 for this value, they don't offer that program. It's more expensive for them to do it.
The commission, in other words, it's a conversation that, possibly that you can find out for me if there is something that there is out there. If not, then fine.
Okay, we can do a little research,
Okay.
okay?
I'll second your motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the letter that will be sent back to the state of Connecticut. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Number 7, any other business that may properly come before the board? Lisa, at what point do I add something to the agenda?
Right here.
Okay, all right, because we do have a letter here to add on, and then I also have something to add on. You have a letter, I'd like to motion on, a letter, an email from Mike Minarski about filling a spot on Griswold Parks and Rec Commission. If you have the letter in front of you.
I'd like to make a motion, we put, the Mike Menashe letter on as part of agenda item,
7.
H7.
I'll
Okay,
second it.
have a motion and a second. All right, so Mr. Minarski is interested in filling the empty spot on Griswold Parks and Rec Commission.
As an alternate. Right.
That's
Yeah,
correct,
we-
as an
As an
alternate.
As an alternate, to move the other guy up.
He doesn't,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll make a motion that we name Mike Benoski, an alternate
I second that.
for the Griswold Parks and Rec Commission for the term of 6/11/24 through 6/10/25.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept this offer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I would like to motion on a short conversation and explanation on communication between emergency services.
Okay. Make a motion, we put that on the agenda.
Okay. Rich,
I'll
you want a
second it.
second? Okay, we have a motion made and a second. All in favor? Aye. I had thought about whether I should address this tonight or not, but some time ago, and we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and the board, you'll remember this, where we expressed concern that some of the activities that are happening around town in terms of exercises and trainings are not communicated to the Board of Selectmen. And apparently, we are gonna hold another meeting where we can clarify what it is that we were thinking. Because what's happening now is it's going all around town, and I received numerous phone calls over the weekend. Oh my gosh, the Board of Selectmen, they're trying to take over what the fire departments are doing. That's not the intention at all. The intention is that if we have, it is not to control the training sessions that are happening within the fire departments. They do their Tuesday night trainings, their meetings. They do important work. We appreciate that. We respect that. But somehow it is now, we're trying to control everything. That is not the intention. The intention is that, for example, tonight, and I was informed, that they're doing a water rescue training out on Ashland Pond. That's fantastic. These things should happen. We don't want to control them and tell them they can't do them. But those types of things need to be communicated to the board because, and as Eric Christensen said today, I'll get the phone call that says, oh my gosh, somebody's drowning out on Patchogue Pond or Glasgow Pond. The fire chief from Griswold today told me that they're going to be having a controlled burn pretty soon down by, I think, Gears Gravel Pit. I'll get the phone call, or somebody's gonna say, there's a big fire down at Gears, and you know how social media goes. So I want to put to rest that we are trying to take over what these departments are doing, and that these exercises are gonna have to be communicated through the Board of Selectmen. Not that we deny them or say, no, you can't do that, but there has to be communication and there has to be a chain of command. And that was the only intention behind this, not to control everybody. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
Well, just as an example, that what you referred to was going on tonight, if we hadn't been aware of it prior to, we could have contacted Tom Giard and he could have contacted all his people around the pond and say, this is what's going on.
Right.
But without any notice or any discussion about it. I don't know
Right.
what the
And-
reaction is gonna be if there's a resident sees something going on out there, say, okay, somebody on social media, somebody's drowning on a Patchogue Pond. We
And-
don't need that.
Right, and it's something as simple as that training exercise tomorrow, which is a valid thing, but it was also set up on the day that we're supposed to be signing all USDA projects to get the sewer project going, and we can't be at two places at once, you know, what I mean, so that's, it just.
We just need to talk more and communicate more. So I know that Rich Waslick has agreed to come, I think, before the Board of Selectmen once a month to talk about what's going to be happening in the future, so that we're aware of it and we can control it in the sense that having the information lets us communicate to the public and to the residents properly. So that's all I've got.
I have nothing to add.
I have nothing.
Okay. All right, Any other business that may properly come before the board?
That's it. I don't have anything.
I
Okay,
have something.
all right, and we will move on to number 8, public forum. Any public forum? Yes.
Yeah, Waymail, 11 Pequot Trail. Commissioner on Aging, yes, Lisa Martell showed up at our last ordinance meeting and we went over the Commission on Aging ordinance. And we went down the requirements, and all those requirements are being met by the senior center and the senior center director. And we pretty much agreed that they basically covered everything on that ordinance. The only thing we did the same thing you did. We went to the statute, state and everything to see if there was a requirement, and we found the same thing. It's not, so.
Yeah.
If you can send an email to Rich and just say, we'll probably be in agreement to remove that ordinance. And, put that in paper. The other thing I have is the decorative lighting. I don't really want to see us go back to light poles. I think I like the lights out there where they are, so maybe find something comparative to that. I don't know how much it's gonna cost for colors or something like that to protect them, but you know, it's gonna be another cost you have to talk about.
I'll try to get some numbers for you.
And then, the building committee ordinance, that was for your review, that's not finished. So, you know, your feedback, whatever you come up with, give us the feedback. Send us an email and then we'll talk about the clarifications. And I think the only other thing was to talk about the social media platform. So the quote that I got from the school, that was for that big room. This is a much smaller room, so it'll probably be a lot less,
Plus,
depending on what you will come up with. I agree with
yep, we
that.
still have that.
Okay.
Okay. Any other public forum?
Yeah.
Yes, Paul.
Oh, that's one key to speak of Google. As far as lighting goes, I was part of that project when we brought those lighting in with this back in 2011. As you all know, we got it through a grant
Yes.
where we actually got the flower boxes, the seats, the garbage buckets and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunately, they were put in a couple of spots by the bank and I guess by the post office.
Mhm.
If you look out there now, it looks
Excuse me,
pretty
Paul?
nice down there. If you look at the lights.
State your name and address.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Did you state your name
Yeah.
and address?
He did.
Okay,
I just-
Yeah.
sorry.
You look out there now, it looks pretty nice out there.
It does.
With the
Oh,
flags
absolutely.
hanging off of it.
Yeah.
And they were also set up for pandas, as you know. You know, if they have a barrel of apples and they have a couple of bad apples, you don't throw the barrel out, you throw out the 2 apples. So I think what we need to do is, the bank seems to be the issue and the post office. So maybe you just cement it over and don't put a couple poles there to keep the rest of them.
We have to be mindful, though, you have to have a certain number of lumens for lighting. So we have to make sure we fall within that range.
I'd be happy to sit with you and go over some of the
Yeah,
LSI stuff, because I think that the technology's changed.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Matter
Okay,
of fact, are they still controlled from here?
I don't know, where, I have no idea.
They were supposed to be controlled from the town from here.
nah,
You can put them on or off.
I have
you
no clue.
controlling them, Lisa?
I think that
I
was
think-
the original plan, but.
We're gonna add the switch to the borough's office down there, Logan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I go into public forum?
Yeah.
Yes,
So the light poles, in reference to Paul's question, there was supposed to be a control box on the side of the post office. And that was gonna be able to change, I think there was 21 different colors.
really?
And that got cut out of the project because of cost. They ran out of money when they got in front of the bank. Public Works dug the trench further up in front of the public utilities and put those last poles in because they were out of money.
Oh, okay.
Bases. You know, from the beginning, I feel those poles were placed in the wrong place. They should have been to the back of the sidewalk,
Agreed.
first of all.
But I'm not
One by
sure
the post office.
the wire coming through, I'm not sure if it had to be in the road or what it was.
No, it was in, well, some of it was in the road, some was in the sidewalk. But the one by the post office, when you pull in, coming from Plainfield, and the one at the bank, when you pull out heading towards Plainfield, both should be taken out. It's not gonna be easy because the wires come up, so you have to
A
somehow
junction box.
hammer down, put a junction box, and then cement it over. The one at the bank, people come out and they try not to cross the center line, and they cut it short, and that's how they take that down.
It's also close when you come out of the Jewett City Pharmacy, that
Yes.
other one there. I don't know where, but if you come out of Jewett, probably take a left, that pole's right in front of you, you know.
Right, so we took the one out over here where the crosswalk button is by the mobile, because trailer trucks kept going up on the sidewalk and running it over. So when they did the ADA corner, we jackhammered it out. That was the end of the line. We just cut the wires and pulled them back to the next pole.
So you don't think it's worth looking for new poles, or you think
Well,
it's,
I don't,
or you think it's
it would
like
have to
a,
be a different construction. They make poles, these are Stromberg poles. They make poles that are 2 or 3 piece construction. These are 1 piece.
That you
So
break
if they
up.
hit them, the things jump.
right,
If they hit it high enough and they just break the base box, you could just change that. But these, it's the whole pole.
top to bottom, right,
So I think you need to look at some different options
okay.
that might be better.
I do it with you both,
The
Ron.
the
Usually
longevity.
poles have to be breakaway.
Yeah,
Because when a car hits them, they need to pull over.
or like a bumper in front of one of the ones.
Yeah, they have to be
Yeah.
breakaway, otherwise you're smashing the car up.
Right, right.
They have to do breakaway.
I just think it looks nice, and I, rather than just street light,
I'm glad that you guys are positive on this thing, because I would hate to see that come out.
well, we haven't got the price yet, though, so that's the other issue.
Be ready. The other question I have is on the building committee. I guess my question would be, you know, what triggers that with town projects? You know, I don't know where that fits in, how much that's gonna add to, you know, our lead time on things like that. That would be some of my questions. You know, how experienced are these people gonna be with, you know, with the range of projects?
So if you look at the list of the required certain qualifications to be on that building committee, if you look at the list of people required. And what triggers it's that $500,000 amount of money that Mark was talking about. So if it's greater than $500,000, it triggers a committee to be formed. And a clerk of the works clerk of the works is supposed to be there for the best interest of the town, look over the project. That's why the clerk of the works.
And it doesn't apply to the school?
No, it does not apply. The school has their own policy for a building committee.
Yeah, we've got that in here. Okay. Yes,
Cheryl Canova, 52 Dino Lane. The discussion on the training for the firehouses, why couldn't you get a calendar, a monthly calendar sent to you instead of email for each training? Just, they know when their training is gonna be, send you the calendar and you'll have it posted in advance. Like, that way you know when it is in advance.
that's not a bad idea. And that would have to, you know, I certainly can ask each of the chiefs. And even like, you know, Fred
That way
Marzak,
there's not 50 million emails going back and forth.
which we do have a problem with right now. I mean, everybody, you know, they're offering this, they're doing this. Tom Holowati stopped in today and just simply told me what was going on tonight. And then, Lou D'Amico sent me a text telling me the same thing.
Yeah, so
And,
if it's a
you know,
calendar, this training's coming up,
and
you guys are aware of it.
I think the thing that triggered this was a conversation that came up about an exercise that may take place on the school campus, and this completely caught everybody off guard. It was in a room full of people. The extent of this training, it was pretty extensive.
I
and-
would rather see the fire department get fully trained anyway, in my opinion.
Well,
you know.
all I'm saying is that there was information that came out, and then all of a sudden, my phone started ringing.
Yeah.
What is this exercise up at the school? It was craziness. It was
Mhm.
absolute chaos. And when I asked the fire marshal if he was aware of this, he was not. And then I asked the superintendent at the school, was he aware of this? He was not. So then I start taking the hit for it. Got to get this resolved. So these types of things need to be communicated.
So that's
to the
why I say a
appropriate-
monthly calendar.
Yeah.
Eliminate
Yeah.
that.
All right. Thank you, Cheryl.
Mhm.
All right.
Dave View, 59 Lee Avenue. I agree, there is some communication problems between different committees, back and forth, not just the Board of Selectmen, but all around. Another item I have is I recently heard the Petrillo property that I've been asking about for years isn't worth getting because it's so contaminated. However, even though it's contaminated, they should still clean that dump up.
Mhm.
And that'll help reduce some of the contamination. And
So
lastly,
did you hear that from a reliable source or did you learn that on social media?
a reliable source,
Okay.
which I prefer not to divulge.
No, I respect that.
And finally, we're coming on to my favorite time of year again, 4th of July. And no, it's not. Just so you
I know, I
understand.
already know.
Yeah. I go through every year in my neighborhood where 3 different households, one directly adjacent to me, launches fireworks. And these are the illegal kind in Connecticut. I have had in the past where the fire chief or fire marshal actually tried to go out with the state troopers to stop these people, and the state troopers said, nope, ain't got time, and that was it. I've called every year numerous times and I get no response from the state troopers. Like I said, my backyard is all big pine trees and the ground is just covered in dry pine needles. And if one of those things go off in the ground, that whole back area is gonna go up in flames.
So I'm supposed to be having a meeting with either the sergeant or the lieutenant at the barracks. I will put that on my list of questions.
You can ask them about the quads and dirt bikes running around the streets too.
Dave, we're not gonna solve all your problems.
You never could. Maybe she can.
Maybe she can. Maybe she can.
All right.
But thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other public forum? Okay, hearing none.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion to adjourn, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
We'll never solve your problems.